The Mongol or the Mongol Empire. This is part of world history, Middle Ages. So, background to the Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire was able to spread because of the strength of its military. At its height, the empire stretched from Mongolia to China, and through the Central Asia it spread as far as the Middle East and Europe. For centuries, it was the largest empire in the history in terms of landmass. This map shows the Mongol Territory, and you can see it had spread to the Europe, to Central Asia, to most parts of China, some part of Russia, and the country which is called Mongolia today itself, where it is believed to have origined. The Mongols were a nomadic people who lived in the steppe region of Central Asia. For centuries, the Mongols divided into different clans, with each clan being ruled by a single leader, who was known as Khan. In 1206 AD, Temujin was successful and took over the name Genghis Khan, meaning the universal leader. Over the next 20 years, the Mongols conquered much of Central Asia and northern China. By the time of Genghis Khan's death in 1227 or 1227 AD, the Mongols had a great empire. Though the Mongol Empire lasted only a little over a century, the Mongols greatly influenced Asia and Europe. During the much of the 12th century, 1200th century, the Mongol Empire expanded through Asia, even into parts of Europe. Beginning 1235 or 1235 AD, the Mongols began to invade and conquer the area of China that were not already under their control. In 1260, Kublai Khan became the great Khan of the empire and continued the conquest of China. Eventually, in 1279, the Song dynasty of China was defeated and the Yuan dynasty was established under the leadership of Kublai Khan. The Mongol armies were more organized than most empires at that time and kingdoms of the time. A chain of commandos divided warriors into small groups under separate generals, but these groups could combine and to form large armies. The warriors trained to fight together in these groups instead of training to fight as individuals. As you can see, the Mongol army, they were different from other armies of that time, and this gave them much needed edge during combats and fights. Mongol Archers. Archers were the most common type of soldiers in the Mongol cavalry, using bows and arrows to attack enemies from a distance. Other cavalry members had weapons for close range, such as swords and lances. Mongol archers formed an integral or the main part of their army and were quite crucial or elemental in their success. Mongol Conquest. During 13th century, the Mongols conquered the Kievan Rus and ruled them for 2 centuries. This caused the Kievan Rus to become isolated from European civilization. The Mongols also invaded Korea in a series of campaigns during the mid-12th century. The Mongol Yuan dynasty ruled Korea for 80 years. The Mongols invaded the Indian subcontinent on many occasions. They were able to take control of what is called Kashmir today. However, they were unsuccessful in conquering areas to south of India. The fall of Mongols. The large amount of money spent on public work projects greatly weakened the economy of Mongol Empire. A failed conquest of Japan also weakened the military presence of Mongols in China. This left the empire in a state that was ripe for rebellion. Following the death of Kublai Khan, powerful struggles emerged throughout the Mongol Empire regarding who would rule. Because of the empire's large size, centralized leadership was hard to maintain. In China, series of floods and increase in taxes in the early 13th century further stressed the Chinese, and rebellions broke out against the Yuan dynasty. In 1368, Zhu Yuan's led Chinese forces against the Yuan dynasty and overthrew the Mongol emperor. The Mongol threat to Mongolian foreign rule of China came to an end.